Hello everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I am out here. We're gonna go on a walk here soon, but before we do, I wanted to go over what these are called. Do you see them? So this here is a live oak. You can actually see, it's kind of cool. It got damaged somewhere. I don't know if it was lightning or it was hit, but the tree has put a cover over it, so it is good to go. But these little water sprouts, water sprouts. You see how they're just like, they kind of dig out? So again, they're called water sprouts. And these water sprouts, they typically show up when the tree either is stressed or for some reason needs a reason to put out more growth in order to have more leaves to photosynthesize. This tree actually has a pretty decent canopy. Again, it does have the damage there that happened many, many years ago, I bet. But it's also been very hot, and of course we've had the drought here in San Antonio for a while. So those are some definite good reasons why these water sprouts may be showing up. So we can go walk for a little bit. Again, we were talking about water sprouts, and sometimes trees get stressed, like I said, because it's too hot or because it is not getting enough water, or sometimes if there's too much pruning going on, then it has lost too many leaves, and therefore the leaves, the green leaves, are what photosynthesis occurs on, and photosynthesis is the process that the trees use in order to create energy for the tree. So if they don't have green leaves, it generally cannot be creating more energy, so therefore the tree can't continue to grow. And so if you take off too many of your leaves, then you can't have as much photosynthesis. So that is how those water sprouts may be needed, and you'll find them all up and down branches and typically on the lower levels. So that is what water sprouts are. Now we're walking down a big old beautiful street here. We've got lots of nice trees covering this street. Most of them are live oaks or an oak of some kind. I do like how this house has some nice rose bushes. They've got some other trees here, some of the understory trees. And then right here to our left, we have a big old red oak. And again, if we look up here in the canopy, if you can see, these leaves have points on them. And so they have the oak shape of a leaf, and they are pointy on the edges. So that makes it a red oak. Whereas if it is a round edges on an oak leaf, that is a white oak. This is one of my favorite things about out walking and just looking at all of the plants. It's just the different flowers as well. Very pretty. Now we're back to the street. See this trees coming over the edges. Over there, we've got a live oak, I believe. We also have cars around us. Whenever you're out walking, always watch your cars. These right here are lantanas. They are a San Antonio staple in most yards. And so like I was saying, yeah, this here is a live oak. And I could tell from across the street because they're kind of round or oval shaped leaves, and it was very dense. And I also was seeing that it has a dark bark. And then right beside it is this beautiful Texas mountain laurel. And then we have another red oak with our pointy leaves. Here is a Texas mountain laurel. They're actually very slow growing, so they are really, really great here in San Antonio. They do well with the sun and the lack of water and the heat, but they take a long time to grow. And they also typically have multiple trunks, so that's normal. Sometimes people can train them to just have one strong one, but a lot of times you'll see a Texas mountain laurel that has multiple trunks. And then this tree, that is actually a crepe myrtle. Again, you can see it's kind of a multi-trunk, but it at one point was trained to have one. And so it's not necessarily like a typical big old tree, but it's more of like an understory or different. It's not one of like those big shade trees, although they can make amazing big shade. But not your typical like oaks or maples or cottonwoods and whatnot. I love being under these live oaks and the shades. Just makes every single walk just so enjoyable, especially on a hot afternoon. All right, so I started this video talking about water sprouts, otherwise known as suckers sometimes we call them. And I also showed you different trees and kind of a little bit about the different varieties and why sometimes I like one tree versus another, or how to identify them. And why do you even want to know any of this? It's amazing. The more you notice, the more you see how different everything is. And you see the diversity. And it's also easier to appreciate the more you know. If you take, for example, when you go to school and you learn something, whether it's in grade school, high school, college, or maybe you take a course for your career and you learn something, and then you're out and about and you come across something that you remember learning from that course or that school class, or you hear someone talking about something and you're like, oh, I know what you're talking about. And then you get to engage with someone about that topic. That is what I love about learning about trees, and also sharing this with you all, is so that you can engage about trees if you want, or if someone is talking about trees, well then you might know something as well to share. It's kind of like a pay it forward sort of thing. But also, when you go to school or you go to a class or you learn something new, you tend to notice it more. You tend to notice the differences. You tend to be able to make out what's different or not. And that's what I love about learning about different trees, is when I'm walking and I see the different varieties, I can just tell that there's a reason one is like another. Or I also can help understand why a tree might be one way or the other. And well, then that creates better ways for me not to just guess or create ideas that are not true. So that is one of the great reasons why I like sharing about trees. All right, so again, kind of on the same topic of the more you know, unfortunately this tree does not look its best. It could be for so many different reasons. And the first thing that I don't want to do is assume anything. This tree over here in the same yard, the one on the right, looks like it's doing pretty well. But that first one wasn't doing the best. And maybe it is because of something changed in the environment after it was planted. Or maybe someone missed something in the planting that maybe didn't allow the roots to uptake the nutrients in the water as well as what the people who had planted the tree thought. Was there compaction? Was there something in the way that it was placed? Or could be any of those reasons that it might not be looking as good. But then if you know a little bit more, maybe you also know that it might be worth talking to a certified arborist to understand a little bit more, or not. Maybe you can go dig some more yourself, but it just helps kind of start somewhere to go to where you want to go. These trees right here, I don't know what that one is, but this one right here is a Monterey oak or a Mexican white oak. Again, it is a white oak. And I don't know if you can tell, it has rounded edges around the leaves. So that's why it's in the white oak family. I just think that is so cool that there's just so many different reasons why all these trees are different and why they might be one way or the other, and what actually is just part of how the tree is or what creates it to grow one way or the other. And I find that fascinating. So I hope you are too. All right, y'all, so we went around the block, and really what you just did is you came out with me to go pick up the mail. And on my journey to get the mail, we talked about trees, we talked about what are some differences in them, and why sometimes some look like one way or the other. And it was still quite the adventure. So I feel like this is my challenge every single time I do a video, but I cannot in any way stop sharing how the next time you're about to go out for a walk, or you're thinking about doing something and you don't know what to do, so then you're thinking maybe you should go out for a walk, just go out for a walk and turn that little around the block or up the street and down the street, or maybe you actually drive somewhere and you go for a walk in a park. Turn that into a little adventure. Turn it into what are 3 different things that you had never seen before that time you noticed, or what do you see that makes you question something, like why does a tree look like that, or I wonder why the tree is planted there. Did they want it for shade, or did they want it to block a view? Just think about all of the questions that you can maybe come up with. And in the meantime, I'm going to be out here walking, enjoying our wonderful, not too hot evening. We have gotten about 4 inches of rain in my area of San Antonio the last week, which is fantastic for our trees. It's beautifully green out here. Everything is growing. We've got so many more flowers. And I'm just really happy that it helps our trees. And even if you're walking along a busy road, it's still worth it to get out. Hope you get out, see what you find, ask your question if you have them. We'll see what we can answer together. Take care.